Hello and welcome back to my channel Techno Vids, where I post technical videos related to Active Directory, Kali Linux, cybersecurity, Office 365, Exchange, and more. And our today's video is on Active Directory FSMO Roles. It is a part 3 of Active Directory FSMO Role series, and we will discuss domain naming master FSMO roles today. So we will understand what a domain naming master FSMO role is. In this video, we will understand what is the domain naming master, explanation of domain naming master and its functions, why is the domain naming master important, what happens if the domain naming master fails, accessing the domain naming master role, verifying the domain naming master role, removing a domain in Active Directory, naming conflicts and their resolution, key consideration for domain naming master, discussing single points of failure, backup strategies and redundancy, how to transfer the domain naming master role, how to seize the domain naming master role, steps and precautions for seizing the role. These are all the topics we will discuss in this video today. To work with this video, I have my domain diagram, the forest domain architecture. So if you look at my previous video, how I have configured the DNS server, the root domain, and the domains in the forest, like two domains, the poem story and bycues.com. So you can watch those videos. I'll share you the link in the description. Second is the environment on virtual machines. These are all virtual machines I would be using. So if you have watched my previous videos, you know we would be using virtual machines to demonstrate all the practicals. Right. So based on the architecture diagram in this section, I have created all the configurations in VMware. So this is my DNS server. This is root DC01, root DC02. These are forest level domains. This is the poem story domain. There is one domain controller. Bycues, there is one domain controller. And this is test.com, which we deployed in my last video. In this video, if possible, if time allows, we will go ahead and try to remove test.com, which is a part of demonstrating how domain naming master works. So let us start with the video. So if you go through my channel, you can find these two videos which is related to this topic. This was part 1. This was part 2. Then there was a video where I have configured the complete infrastructure in VMware workstation as virtual machines, and how I replicated the DNS entries. So for a detailed view, you can go to these videos and watch them. Moving next, now what is domain naming master FSMO role? So we know FSMO role is flexible single master operation role, and on forest level there are two FSMO roles. One is schema master and other one is domain naming master. So schema master we have already discussed in previous video. Domain naming master, what is a domain naming master? So the domain naming master is one of the 5 flexible FSMO roles in Active Directory, and it plays a crucial role in maintaining the integrity of domain names within an Active Directory forest. So the domain naming master, it actually creates the rule, or it manages how you name the domains in a forest. So we will demonstrate this as well. Now, key functions of the domain naming master, what it actually does, it is unique domain names across the forest. So this domain naming master is responsible for maintaining a unique domain name. So you cannot add a domain with the same name as an existing domain. So who checks this out? This is the domain naming master which checks. The domain naming master ensures that each domain name within the forest is unique. When a new domain is added to the forest, the domain naming master checks to see if the domain name already exists to prevent duplicates. Second is adding and removing domains. So this domain naming master is responsible. It works when you add or remove domains to a forest. This role is responsible for handling the creation and deletion of domains within the forest. It controls all the domain naming changes, ensuring that these operations are properly managed. When you add a new domain or remove an existing domain from the forest, the domain naming master verifies and authorizes these actions. So it is quite clear to while we add and remove domains, it is the domain naming master FSMO role which checks on these activities. Single instance role in the forest. There is only one domain naming master role per forest. So in each forest you will have only one domain naming master, which makes it a unique role. It is usually located on a domain controller in the forest root domain. So if I take you back to so the domain naming master, where will you find it? Would be on the forest root domain. So this will have domain naming master, and this will have schema master as well, right? So any of these DCs which you configured earlier, like in the first place, will hold that domain naming master. So in my case, root DC01 is the domain naming master as well as schema master. So when we look into how do we transfer the roles, then we might transfer, suppose domain naming master from 1 to 2, and the schema master will remain on 1 DC1. So this is this is how you decide the infrastructure, which domain controller you would need to have the domain naming master, keeping in mind that only one domain naming master or only one domain controller will hold the role of domain naming master. You can distribute domain naming master and schema master at forest level, but they will always be on one machine. Why is the domain naming master important? First is consistency. It maintains consistency in domain names across the entire forest, which is crucial for avoiding conflicts and ensuring smooth operations. Forest-wide changes. Since it controls domain name changes that affect the entire forest, any issues with the domain naming master can impact the addition or removal of domains in the forest. So domain naming master is responsible for controlling the domain name changes, right? If in case the domain naming master FSMO role fails or domain naming master fails, then you would not be add or remove domains in the forest. Yeah, so next topic is the same. What happens if the domain naming master fails? If the domain naming master is unavailable, no new domains or application partitions can be added or removed from the forest. Existing domain operations will continue to work as usual. So if even if the domain naming master fails, you will be able to do the domain operations as usual. It won't be affected. But any changes that involve adding or removing domains will be halted until the domain naming master is restored or transferred to another domain controller. The domain naming master is critical for environments when domain management occurs frequently, ensuring that there are no overlapping or conflicting domain names within the forest. So, if like this domain naming master is responsible when you add or remove uh, a domain from the forest, so this is the one which controls kind of the naming convention of the new domain. It checks for the duplicate values. If the domain naming master is unavailable or is not working, your normal domain operation will work as usual, like adding the users, removing users, adding groups. All these things will work. The only thing which will not work are adding a new domain or removing a new domain. It won't work because then there is no authority to check if the domain being added is duplicate or not. Now, Active Directory makes sure if the domain naming master is not working, then it won't allow you to use or add a new domain because that can result in the naming conflicts. So that was an overview of domain naming master FSMO role. Let us proceed to the next section, accessing the domain naming master role. The domain naming master is one of the 5 flexible roles, okay, that we have discussed. Now, accessing the domain naming master role using Active Directory domains and trusts. So, what you need to do is you need to open Active Directory domains and trust, and this is how you open it. Locating the domain naming master and accessing the domain naming master role using Active Directory sites and services. Accessing the domain naming master role using Active Directory sites and services. This is how these are the steps. So we will see it in practical. How do we access these roles? So this is my DNS server. So I do not have, and this is non-domain join, so I do not have to worry about it. Now this is my root domain, uh, the first domain controller that we added in the forest. So I don't know why my password is always wrong. Okay, now it is updating it right now, so don't worry about it. Uh, Tools, and you go to Active Directory Domains and Trusts. So it opened Active Directory Domains and Trusts, and here and on the top node, if you right click, you see an option Operations Master. If you click on it, so the domain naming master operation role is root dc01.root.local, which is this machine. If I go to this root DC, the DC02, and put the same password here. Okay, it took fast this time. So let me. So if the server manager is not loading, or if you have configured it not to load at startup, then you can use this command domain.msc. Right? So let us do it this way. So we are on DC02 and we go to domain.msc and load it, and go to top node and click on Operation Master. It is also telling you that root dc01.root.local is the operation domain naming operation master. So it is clear. How do we check which domain or which domain controller in the forest is holding the domain naming master role? This is the same thing. Right. Accessing the domain naming master role using Active Directory sites and services. So let us see how do we do that. No, no, so go to DC02, go to Tools, Active Directory sites and services. It is loading. Okay, sites. Now, if you go, it will provide you all the site information. And you go to sites. Oh, sorry. You go to servers. So this is root DC01, and you right click. Okay, sorry. Like I mentioned it here. You might like while creating this PPT, I just not did not write it correctly. So actually, like the Active Directory sites and services will not clearly mention the FSMO role, the domain naming master role. So I tried checking it. I'll investigate it more because I know it works from here. But all right, so let us concentrate on domain naming master role using Active Directory domains and trust. So we checked it from here, and Active Directory users and computers, you cannot check the forest level. If you go here and root.local and click on operation master, so these are domain level operation masters. So coming back to it, the first way is to go to Active Directory domains and trusts and operation master. You can see domain naming master role is there. Let us see. Okay, that was it. And there is one other way to check the role. So you go to Windows PowerShell and run this command netdom query netdomque, sorry, netdom query FSMO, and you hit enter. So schema master is root DC01, domain naming master is root DC01, RID PTC, RID pool master, and infrastructure master is a domain level uh, FSMO role. So if I go here on my whiteboard, I can write it like, all right. So these three are specific to the domain, right? So all right, let it be. So these three roles are specific to the domain. Now, if I go to any other domain in my infrastructure, suppose I go to the poemstory.com domain, and here I log in. Every time I have to log in, get updates, okay, it will get updates tools. So here I go to PowerShell and netdom query FSMO. So let us see the difference in the result. So you see this schema master. I'll enlarge this window for you. Uh, so how do you enlarge? Right click, edit, edit, no, defaults, yes, and large, okay, but it won't work. I have tried it multiple times, so let it be. If you're able to see it, it is good enough for me for now. So schema master is root DC01. So I am on a domain here inside this forest. Still, the schema master is held by someone in the like root DC in the forest, and domain naming master as well. It lies with the DC01. However, specific to the poem story domain, the three other FSMO roles, infrastructure master, rate pool manager, and PDC emulator, it it lies on the domain controller in the domain. So I hope it is clear what are forest level FSMO roles and what are domain level FSMO roles. Okay, coming to the next slide. Uh, you can also use the command get ad forest netdom query FSMO, right? So let us run this command get ad forest. So if I run it on the poem story, so if I run this, no, sorry, uh, get, so let me clear it. I did it wrong. So get, if I go to get ad forest, it will also list the FSMO role. So domain naming master is root DC01 and schema master is again root DC01. And if I do get ad domain, so it will list the FSMO roles on the domain level. So you can see here TPS DC infrastructure master, and this is PDC emulator, right? You see this is PDC emulator, and there would be read master as well. This is the read master. So these are the commands like netdom query FSMO and get ad forest to check the domain naming master. Okay, so I hope that was clear. Now moving next to removing a domain in Active Directory. This slide I'll cover in the end. So let us now see key consideration for domain naming master. So first thing we will discuss is single point of failure. The domain naming master is a unique role in Forest, meaning that only one server in the entire Active Directory holds the role. We have discussed it multiple times. If the domain naming master fails, no new domains. This is also discussed. We cannot add or remove any domain. Backup strategies. So you need to perform regular backup, and backups are stored in secure location. So to show when I create the video on backing up your domain controllers, like how you back up the domain controllers or in the machine, I'll have to deploy uh, or a file server at least on some of the machines here, or I can deploy a standalone file storage service, and there we need to configure drives. And when you go to, like, if you go to any uh, server, so if you go to like backup, Windows Server backup, if I go, so you see local backup. How do you want to, the Windows Server backup is not installed. To install Windows Server backup from the server manager, so actually, like, it is a whole lot of topic. How do you do a backup and restore? So manage, you can go to add roles and features from here as well. Next, and I do not want to for the backup to work, you have to install the backup service, which is Windows. Oh my God, Windows. No, I do not see. Yeah, or server roles. Windows Server Update Services. No, Windows. Okay, let me see. Like, the service is Windows Server Backup. Windows Server Backup. Come on, Windows Server Backup is there, right? So it is in the features. So it is a Windows feature, Windows Server Backup. If I go and install it, This will install the backup feature on your Windows server, but in order to do a backup, it will ask for a location, which will either be on this machine or it will be on some other machine. Uh, like then I have to configure kind of backup server, and I can show that to you. So if I go there and let me start it again. So backup, Windows Server backup, desktop app, it open. Now it is reading the data. Please wait. This is how you configure the backups, right? So where you want to like create a backup, like this is the backup schedule, how sooner or later. So if you go here, the specific destination, backup to a volume, backup to a shared network folder, backup to a hard disk that is dedicated for backups. So if you click next, it won't find any hard disk, right? So when I create the video, then I'll come prepared for the backup and restore services. So far, like it is a recommendation that you keep your backups secure. Like there is no point putting the backup on this machine itself, in my view, because if anything goes wrong with the machine, then you have to detach the hard drive and you need to restore the image from there. If testing backup restoration, regularly test redundancy option. So you do a role transfer, you do a role seizure. So we will do a role transfer to in this video itself. Role seizure is kind of a warning that you get, because if you do a role seizure, like seize the role for a domain naming master, in case that domain naming master is not available, now that server should not come back with the same role, so you have to make required changes in the server. So now we will come to know how to transfer and seize the domain naming master role. So transferring the domain naming master role, this is the command, and actually the place from where you see the domain naming master, it was here. So if I go to root dc01, close it, active directory domains and trust, right click, and you see operations master root dc01. You can do a change. Click on OK. Now what happened? To transfer the domain naming master role to the following computer, click changes, right? Okay, I'm doing it wrong. So suppose DC01 is holding the domain naming master role. If I go to DC02, then I will be able to transfer. So I go back, cancel it. So I go to tools and I go to active directory domains and trust, and you right click here and operation master. So you see DC01 is the operation master. We are on DC02. Now you click on change. Okay, we tried it. It is not working. So, mm, so it is a domain naming master. Cancel. It is a domain naming master. Okay, I'm stuck, kind of stuck here, and the current active directory domain control is serving as the operation master. To transfer the operation master role to a different computer, you must first connect to it. Okay, so action. Okay, so I go to action. No file option, nothing. Okay, change forest, operation master. change Active Directory domain controller. Now DC2, I'll change the domain controller. Right click Operations Master, and now you click change. Okay. So how do we do it? All right. So we are on DC1 and we want to transfer the operation master role, sorry, the domain naming master role to DC02, right? So on DC01, you have to right click and you have to do change Active Directory domain controller. So now you need to change the domain controller from here. Now the connection is made. Now you go right click and go to operations master and change. Yes, the operation master was successfully transferred. Okay, and close. So if you right click and go to operations master, now the operation master has changed to DC02. Okay, you close it. Now from here itself, if you change Active Directory controller and go to DC01 and click OK, and right click and operation master, so you click and change and click OK. Now it changed to DC01, right? So you actually first need to make sure you change the domain controller. That is the way you connect. And from here, if you see, right click and where it is connected right now. Okay, it is connected to dc01.root.local, and I will check the operation master role. It is on dc01. So actually I need to go here. Even if I am on dc02, I need to go to Active Directory Domains and Trust and change Active Directory Domain Controller, and I want to transfer the role to DC02. So you select DC02 and click on OK, and operation master and click on change. Okay, now it changed. So currently the operation master role is on DC02. This was to show you why you need to make this connection, right? Now we connect to DC01 and right click and operation master role and click on change. Click on yes. Now the operation master will change to DC01. Now suppose this DC01 is offline, we do a power off. Now who is the domain naming master, right? So the domain naming master is off right now. So if you go and select DC01 and connect change Active Directory domain controller. So what is happening now? Nothing is happening. It will throw you an error maybe, but there is only one domain controller. Now the domain naming master is down. So what will not happen is you cannot add a new domain now. Getting it? So I turned off. I went ahead and switched off DC01, and now I am on DC02. If I try to connect to DC01, let us see what happens. Because this, which is the domain naming master, is not available anymore. Now this is a failure. Suppose if I go ahead and try to remove this domain. Now in order to remove a domain, you have to go through certain steps. The first is preparation. So in preparation, you check dependencies. There are no objects or services that depend on the domain you plan to remove. Okay, so there is no dependencies for sure, right? Because it is a new domain that I have put. This back up the data. Okay, we won't do it because then we have to go through another video. Now demote domain controller. Before you can remove the domain, all domain controllers within that domain must be demoted, right? So there is only one domain controller. So now what we will do is we'll go to manage and remove roles and features, go next, next, and Active Directory domain services and the like uh-uh. So the Active Directory domain controller needs to be demoted. Okay, we got this error, so demote this. Next. The domain controller currently holds the following role. We don't care. Domain naming system, DNS, and global catalog. Proceed with removal. So do next. Remove the DNS zone. Remove application partitions. We'll remove everything. And DNS delegation removal credentials. We'll go here. We'll put the user ID password for this PC and let us see what it does. It okay. DSRM password, new administrator. Okay, so when this domain is removed, there would be a local administrator on this PC. So you need to set a password for the same. And keep in mind that our root DC is turned off, which means there is no global domain naming server. Right? Domain naming FSMO role. Sorry, not domain naming server. Domain naming master FSMO role is not there, so you do a demotion. Let us see what happens. View detailed operation result. Okay. A domain controller could not be contacted with the domain test.com that contained an account for this computer. Make the computer a member of a work group, then rejoin the domain before retrying the promotion. Okay. So you do a close. Now again remove roles and features, so that we are getting that error. Okay, now we remove it. It says demote, force removal of this domain controller, right? Next, PDC domain naming system server operation master. Okay, these are the domain level operation master that it is asking for to remove. Don't care about it because demote, right? DNS server, okay, stopping services KDC. So we are actually testing what the documentation says is if my domain naming master FSMO role or the DC is not available, which holds that role, will it allow me to remove the domain? So let us see. And here if I see which server is not operational, we know server is not operational, and domain operations master, it cannot contact the operation master because the root DC01 holds the schema master as well as domain naming master. So demotion, it is taking time. Let us see. And here if I go on the poem story domain and try to go and check again net don't query FSMO, it root DC01 schema master, it still shows schema master DC01 and domain naming master DC01, but my DC01 is turned off, right? So here see, okay, now from here if I, what happens, you doing this test like I can run with a limited knowledge or limited scripts. But if Tom query FSMO, okay, it knows DC01 is the schema master. Now where is this DC01? It is turned off. Alright, and what happens here? You have to be signed off. We have successfully removed the domain, right? So it is no longer a domain. So we demoted it from a domain as a domain controller. Now it is the local administrator. Okay, so even if the domain naming master is turned off, we successfully removed the domain. Now try and promote this to as a domain controller. So you can actually, like, from here you can go to the controller. Yes, for now. Okay, so if you want to manage and then remove roles and features, so now you can, once it is demoted as a domain controller, so you can demote, remove these services, and it won't tell you anything, right? So once it is demoted, you can remove the active. Now we will promote this. So once it is demoted, you can actually go ahead and remove the Active Directory domain services role from this server. Now a domain controller, no, we want to add a new domain in the existing forest, yes. Now it would be a tree domain, yes. Forest name is root.local and we will put test.com. Right, credentials change, we'll put the administrator. Let me retype the password. Okay, we'll do it and we'll do next. And let us see what happens. Okay, could not log on to the domain with this specific credential, so right, we'll log in with the root. Okay, so I actually forget every time with which credential I have to log in. So you have to log in with the forest credential. Let us see what happens. So our domain naming master is off, right? So let us see. Do DC01 is the domain naming master, which is off, but it being off, we removed a domain. Now I could not log on to domain with the specific credential root. Okay, root.local / admin. Okay, let us see now. It still cannot log in. We are not able to add a domain. So simple, it is like irrespective of these errors, we are not able to add a domain name. Right? Now we will go ahead and turn this on and then let us see. So now we are turning on the domain naming master, and let us see if we can add a domain. So removal of a domain, like removal in my understanding, does not create any conflict, a naming conflict. So you can actually remove the domain if there are no dependencies or nothing as such, the connections and all. But adding a new domain is kind of challenge if your domain naming master is not running. So, all right, it is taking time. It worked on some updates. Okay, so this root DC01 is available after an update. Every time you see me logging into the machines. Okay, it is back, and let it start all the services. Meanwhile, we will go ahead and do next, and let us see what happens. Still verification of tree failed. The domain name DNS name test.com has an invalid format. Okay, test it again. Okay, so now this root DC is up. Sorry, the domain naming master is up. It tells you that this test.com was already there, right? You cannot create a domain with the same name. So you click on next. We added test1.com and click next. Now it is allowing you to add the domain. So you see how the domain naming master prevented you from creating the same domain, taking the same domain name. You see, no. And if I put like test1, all right. Um, Now I'm going to do a disruption in my environment. This would be disrupting my environment, but it is okay if we show it for the video. Now here we like the transferring the FSMO role we did from the GUI. This is the command that you can run uh, to transfer the FSMO role. So I will demonstrate this command as well. So we will go to DC01 and run the PowerShell. PowerShell. Maybe I will run IEC as an administrator. So let it come up. Come on. PowerShell is up, and put the script there. So it says move Active Directory server operation master role identity would be root DC02, right? This is currently the rule is on DC01. We will move the rule to DC02, right? So I run this command, yes to all, it moved. Now we will run netdom query FSMO, right? So if you see netdom query FSMO, domain naming master is on root DC02. Similarly, if you want to move domain name master and schema master both, so yes to all, it moved, and then you do the net term query FSMO. You can see it is changed to DC02. Now we will do a seize of the role, like we will seize the role. So we'll just run it, yes to all, and sorry. move directory operation master role, and we'll do a schema master, right? Yes to all. The directory server. Okay, and netdom query FSMO root.dc02. Now how do I transfer the schema master role? So, okay, so it failed transferring the schema master role. Now my domain naming master is dc01 and the schema master is dc02. Yeah, the command is correct. Alright, the schema master. So I'll run this command once again. Move AD directory server operation master role. Identity is DC01. Operation master role is schema master. Okay. Operation master role is schema. It is okay, not case sensitive. Yes to all. There was some problem with this domain name master. Okay, so now if I run this FSMO, netdom query FSMO, I'll see DC01 and DC02. Sorry, DC01 has schema master and domain naming master. Now, for purpose of the demonstration related only to domain naming master, I will transfer the schema master to DC02 so that yes to all. No, no, you can't do this to the directory service is unavailable. Okay, so it might take time in order to the directory server service to come to be working. That is the reason why it did not run. Okay, okay, now it is done. So it takes some time to replicate. Now my schema master is DC02 and domain naming master is DC01. Now what if my domain naming master goes off? Again, I'll turn it off, power off. So if I go here on this machine and do kind of all right, let it come back. Tools, Active Directory, Domains and Trust. Active Directory, Domains and Trust. Open up. Online, okay. I cannot do this because PDC emulator is off. Now this DC01 is the PDC emulator as well. So you can see if your FSMO roles are how FSMO roles are important. You'll start getting errors if they're down. So PDC emulator is down, you cannot do anything for now. So in this case, we need to seize the roles. Right now, how do we seize the roles? So seizing the domain naming master role in situation where the current domain naming master is permanently unavailable, you need to seize the role. Warning: once you seize the domain naming master role, the original server should not be brought back online without proper reconfiguration. All right. So you have to run this command ntdsutil command. So root dc02. Okay, you cannot change because dc01 is not available. In that case, you need to seize the role. So how do you seize the role? Run as administrator. Go here and run this. First line is ntds util. Right. So if you run it, let us see what happens. ntds util. It is taking some time because okay, let me stop it. So it takes some time. Isn't this taking a long time? Okay. Okay, so I'll close PowerShell. I see I stop this and close it. It is not responding. So maybe we open PowerShell normal, right? Windows PowerShell and put ntdsutil. So it is running the entities dsutil.exe. Go to roles, FSMO maintenance. So it is showing you FSMO maintenance connections, right? So connections, server connections. Okay, server connection is done. Now connect to server. Connect. Sorry, you need to connect to server. Uh, root DC 01. Root DC 01. Right. Target DC where you want to. Yes. And quit. Okay, sending binding to root DC01. It is doing something out there. Binding to root. Okay. But this DC01 is not available. How will it bind? Quit. Failed. Okay. Server connections. It is back to server connection. Uh, root. Okay. It is back. Server connection. Now. So connect to server. Target DC name is the server where we want to seize the domain. Okay. Let me connect to server root DC 02. Server connections. Connect to root using credential of locally logged on user. Okay. And then you need to do a quit. FSMO maintenance. And then we'll do seize the domain naming master role. So seize domain naming master. Seize. I seize domain naming master. Invalid syntax. Hmm. Okay, let us try this. So actually, I will do Control C, clear it, and will this domain naming master. Okay, target DC name is root DC02, and we'll make it a domain naming master with force. Yes, yes. Come on. Why are you taking such a long time? Generally, like in organization where you do not need to frequently, the failures are not happening, you don't need to do this. Uh, it is going to take years. Okay, something it did. So net dom query FSMO. So these commands actually don't work. So seizing the FSMO roles, I will remove in front of you, nothing to hide. So go, and I think this is the command which will work. Force. Okay, and let me see what is going on there. The command completed successfully. The schema master is DC02. The domain naming master is DC02 again. Right? You see, we seized the role for DC01 and transferred it to DC02. So this was the correct command to transfer. So in a nutshell, if I talk about what we discussed in this video, let me see if it's the last slide. Okay. So what we discussed in this video, let me open a notepad for you. So we discussed domain naming master, accessing the role, and we're accessing the role, domains and trusts, right? Could not see the actual role from domains and trusts. Hmm. And we saw even if the domain naming master was off, we removed a domain, right? However, we could not add a domain, right? And seizure did not work through ntds util, right? So we forced the role seizure with the command move AD directory server operation master role identity target EC name operation master force. Okay, this is what we did. What else? There was something remaining. Now this to DC0. Okay, 2 was not available and we were trying to add a domain. So let us see. Cancel it. And test.com. Still can it add now the domain with the same name? Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Show more. Now some error popped up, but the screen is blank. Close it. Okay, it's gonna okay. So even if you seize the role, the new domain naming master won't allow you uh, seize the domain naming master role. It would not allow the same domain domain name, right? But the question is, this test domain was removed, right? Now, what is holding it from adding a domain? So I'll show you what is holding it from adding a new domain. So if you go here and go to Server Manager, Tools, Active Directory, Sites, now Domains and Trusts. Look closely, there should be a test.com already available. That is the reason it is not allowing you to remove. Are you going to take years? You can. PTC emulator is not available. Let us try. Test.com is here. Right click and manage. You cannot manage. It's not available. So some other time, right? If you manage this, you can manage. Or no. PDC emulator is not available. This is telling you continuously PDC emulator is not available. Remove Active Directory. So if suppose root DC02 operation master role 1 2 3 4 3 4 5. No, only 5. 0 1 2 3 4 5. So there are 5 FSMO roles and I don't know why I cannot do 0 1 2 3 4. If I do that, yes to all, it will transfer all the FSMO roles, the forest level as well as the domain level roles to this DC02. This is not available. Now this is available. Let us see what it does. And we have not used force this time. So we are just trying to seize all the roles from DC root DC01 because it has gone missing. It has gone bad. This video is going to be long. Oh my god. Now this ran into an issue. Alright. This is all what you see in a practical session. A practical session because I cannot practice this separately and then create a video. That is why it is the real live video. You are going to like it. Definitely and for sure. Do it fast. Whatever you are applying, do it fast, please. So, alright, guys. I need to get more subscribers, isn't it? This will help me in getting the subscriber, these errors and issues. Oof, you're not done yet. And here, now on a domain level, FSMO roles, you check. Okay, so this machine is back. So suppose it took a long time for this machine to recover. No worries. So now we go to my PowerShell and do net dom query FSMO. Uh, spelling mistake. I'm tired now. DC02. Okay, now DC01 we don't need you. Alright, so now do this. Let us see what happens. Verify domain. Yeah, it will still not let you add. So there are too many configuration you need to make when you are trying to add the domain with the same name. Now let us see whether so DC01 is gone. DC02 we have configured all the like other FSMA role like domain level FSMA roles. We see it there, and we can add this domain. Actually, I'm not going to add it. It won't. It will be a long video. So this test.com domain was never in my plan, but I created it for demonstration purpose. So next would be domain level FSMA roles. So we'll discuss infrastructure master, PDC emulator, and RAID master. Hope this video helped. Right. So we went into practicals, made mistakes. This PowerPoint slides that I presented, it had some information fetched from some websites, and everything was not right. So we know what we saw. This I will add to the description of the video as well. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for giving your time. And if you like it, do subscribe and share. Once you subscribe, like, share, and comment, I get more positive about posting the videos. So, a request, if you have not subscribed yet, do subscribe, like, and share. For anything you want to know, or if there is any mistake, or you want to make some corrections, please do comment and I will try to rectify. Thank you and have a nice day.